Hello and welcome to Body&MindClub. This is the tutorial for using the Body&MindClub's exercise log and progress tracking Google Sheet. If you're not doing it already, then tracking your progress and keeping an exercise log is probably the single biggest change you can make to maximize your chances of achieving your gym goals. This Google Sheet is a simple tool to help you do that. No subscription, no course, just a one-off download and away you go. This tutorial will show you how to download, set up, use and customize your Google Sheet, all time-stamped in case you want to skip anything, so let's jump straight in. Step 1. Downloading your Google Sheet. Once you've purchased your product, you will receive a PDF file containing a link. All you need to do to download your Google Sheet is press that link. That will open up this web page. Click the Make a Copy button, and that will open the sheet and save it into your Google Drive. It's as simple as that, but two important things to remember. To be able to do this, you need to be logged into your Google account, and if you're using a mobile, then it's recommended to download the free Google Sheets app, which works much better than the mobile web browser. Step 2. Set up an overview. Now you can use the spreadsheet on either a laptop or a mobile, but generally we would recommend that for setup, you use a laptop, and then when you're actually at the gym, logging your exercises and tracking progress, you use a mobile, because you obviously don't want to look like a nerd with your laptop at the gym. So the spreadsheet is designed for three main uses: logging your exercises, planning your regime, and tracking progress against your goals. Once you have it open, you will see that there are three tabs: tracking, planning, and the progress graph. If you start on the tracking tab, you'll see that column A is your menu of exercises. This is the main thing that the spreadsheet is focused around, and everything else flows out of this. The spreadsheet is pre-populated with some exercises, but of course there are thousands of exercises called different things by different people, so really the idea is for you to customize this to suit your preferences. You may want to amend the exercises already in the sheet. For example, you might want to change chest press machine to converging chest press machine, if that's the machine you have at your gym. Or you may want to add in a new exercise in a new row. You will then see that the columns in the right are different categories and descriptors for each of the exercises. Now you may not want to use these, which is completely fine, and we will come on to how you hide these columns if they're irrelevant shortly, but for the sake of the tutorial, let's say you do want to use all of these for your splits and your regime planning. Then you'll want to make sure that they are filled out. Let's look at an example. Barbell bench press targets chest, and we'll want to put the same for the muscle group. It is a push exercise, it is upper body, and it is a compound exercise, as there are multiple muscles which are worked during the movement. And of course, if there is something that you're not sure about, you can just give it a Google. It's important to remember at this stage that everything is fully customizable. Like any other spreadsheet, if you want to change the categories or the drop-down menus, you can do. See how to do this in the customization section of this video. Right, when you've done all that, you're ready to move on to the next step, which is planning. The planning tab is for planning your weekly gym regime. In other words, the exercises you want to do on different days. There is a table for each month of the year, but you can also just use the first table and update that when you want to change things around, if you find that easier. Then all you do is fill in the exercises you want to do on each of the days you're at the gym during the week. So let's say you go to the gym 3 times a week and you're doing 5 exercises each day. Then you go to day 1 and fill out the exercises, then the same for day 2, then the same for day 3, and you can just leave the rest. These drop-down menus will show all the exercises from your tracking tab. And this is one thing you might find the categories and descriptors helpful for. For example, if you are wanting to do a push day on day 1, you can quickly go back to the tracking tab, filter by push, and check which exercises you might want to include. And if, for example, you want to have at least one compound exercise in your push day, then you can filter by that category too, and so on. And unless there's any specific customization you want to do on top of that, then that's your setup, more or less complete. Now let's move on to step 3 for actually using your spreadsheet. We'll start by showing this on the laptop before moving on to the mobile. If you scroll to the right, you'll see you have the dates for every day of this year. And this is where you'll do your exercise logging and progress tracking. You will see there are pre-populated rows for weight and body fat percentage, but if there are other bioindicators that you want to track, then simply add those in. Then, whenever you do a reading, just add it in, and it's as simple as that. And you can switch to the progress graph on tab 3, where you will automatically see that plotted and visualized. So you may want to do that step at home or at the gym, but let's move on to how you'll actually be using the sheet at the gym. So the exercise logging. For this, you'll be using your phone most likely, or maybe a tablet. And remember, it's the same sheet whether you're accessing it through a laptop, a tablet, or a phone. It's all updated live on the Google Drive. So the first thing you need to do is hide any columns containing dates which have passed. And the reason you'll do this is so you don't have to scroll really far to the right every time you need to log an exercise. Today is the 19th of September, so you highlight the columns, select the hide button as shown on screen. And the reason you hide and don't delete is to make sure you don't lose any data, which is really important for progress tracking. Because if you lost the data, then you can't see how you've progressed. Once you've got your starting date, you'll want to set up the spreadsheet for your session, and start this by going to the categories and descriptors columns here. Firstly, hiding any columns that you're just not bothered about, and then using the filter buttons. So, for example, if your day 1 is a push day, you can filter the exercises under the push categories as follows. Then, if you scroll to the right, you will see you have columns for sets, reps, weights, and additional weight, which is just for capturing decimals. So here you capture what number of sets and reps you're planning to do for the exercise and the weight. And recording this information is super important for things like progressive overload. So you can always see the weight that you last did when you did the exercise, and you can increase it to make sure you're making those gains. Now, you might be an experienced gym goer, so you already know what you can do, or maybe you're a beginner and it will require a bit of trial and error until you know where you're at. But let's take a look at a quick example. So for bench press, we might put 3 sets, 8 reps, and 40 kilograms, or you can do it in pounds if that's what you use. So now that's all done. If you complete your exercise according to those numbers, then you put a yes in the relevant date column. And that's it. You've logged your exercise. So once you've set up and started using your spreadsheet, it will probably start looking a bit more like this. Then keep filling it out when you have your gym sessions, maintain the habit, and watch the gains roll in. So let's move on to the final step, customization. And this is where you can really tailor the spreadsheet to suit your needs and preferences. Earlier in the video, we already showed how you can change the names of exercises, add in the new exercises, or new indicators you want to track. And you can do that quite easily on the phone or a laptop whenever you want. And maybe that's all you'll need to do. But you can take the customization further, and the spreadsheet is designed so you can do this without too much effort or spreadsheet expertise. As ever, you can do this on the mobile or the laptop, but we'd recommend laptop as it's a little bit more fiddly on the mobile. So, for example, you might want to change the column categories or the drop-down menu options. So let's run through an example that includes both. So let's say you're not bothered about the upper-lower body split, but you do like to do calisthenic exercises. So you could just go to this column and change the title to calisthenics. Then you'll want to change the drop-down menu options, as they'll no longer make sense for your category. And the easiest way to do this is to scroll down to here and change the options. It is laid out so the options here correspond to the options in the drop-down menu in the same column above. So all you do is replace these, scroll back up, and you'll see that the drop-down menus have changed. If you want to take it a step further, then you can right-click on drop-down menus, and you'll see that you have a few options here, like adding colors to the different options. Usually, if you're changing one cell, Google will automatically give you the option to apply it to the other cells with the same properties, which will save you changing them all manually. So let me just show you how this works. Say we wanted to extend the options on muscle group to include finger muscles. Maybe you're a climber. Add that into the options down here. Right-click drop-down menu. Make sure that the drop-down menu covers the right selection of options. So you'll see at the moment, this only covers up to cell 129, but we want it to cover up to cell 130, where we've just added in an extra option. Change it here, click Done, and then Apply to All. Now you really are free to tailor the spreadsheet how you like. But the final thing we'll look at is the progress graph, where again, you can customize it how you want. Double-click on the graph, go to Customize, and then you have all sorts of different options, like adding in a trend line or data labels. And it's also worth remembering that you might want to change the range of the axes if you need to make the graph more presentable. So this goes up to 500 currently, which doesn't look very good. So we can set the upper bound to something more sensible, like 100. And there you have it. And the power of spreadsheets is as far as your knowledge and expertise will take you. There is nothing locked, so you are free to customize as you please. And that's everything. Thanks for watching and happy trading.